Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Works down by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to this happy midway point of the week. Hump Day. Got a great show lined up, man. We're going to start right off with Robert Kravitz from The Athletic. He'll join us, as he's already here. Derrick Jackson will join us later. Rick Bozich. And how about Nolan Harrison? Looking forward to that. What a daggone lineup. And to start off, got the leadoff man. Bob Kravitz hitting leadoff spot today. How's it going, man?
Good, man. I'm the Ralph Garr of the Jim Coyle Radio Show.
Yeah. Man, all right, I'm going to be honest. You got me on that one.
Ralph Garr, he used to play for the Braves 100 years ago.
Well, the Braves are pretty happy as they pulled in the World Series, the first World Series since 95 last night.
Covered that one.
Did you get it?
I did.
Oh, the 95, yeah.
I covered that one. Yeah, I was with the Rocky Mountain News, and I remember – it's funny. I got into it with some guy on Twitter. I was calling for the end of the chop back in the
25 years ago.
Back in the early 90s. I can clearly remember. I may be boring you with this, but I clearly remember when they played the Twins. I forget which year it was. Maybe 91, 92. Yeah. I remember going to a Native American center to talk to Native Americans about being used as mascots in the whole tomahawk chop, and people act like this is a whole new thing. Dude, I'm not the only one. A lot of people have been screaming about this since it started back in the early 90s. And, people can have their opinions on it. Mine is that it's distasteful that you don't turn a race of people into mascots. I think it diminishes them. And, so anyway, it was a weird World Series for me, Jim, because I couldn't root for either team. I hate the chop with Atlanta, and Houston had the cheating scandal. So I was kind of rooting for both teams to lose.
Yeah, I was the same way. I said it going into it. I've got no vested interest here because the chop with the Braves are just, they used to be, I'm a Reds fan, so I still have the way long time ago West Division, all that stuff. And then the Houston thing, I'm like, yep, cheaters. So but if anyone, I guess it had to be the Braves if I had to pick
I guess
them,
it's not, it's not the team that's doing it, it's the fans. But although the team does start with the organ music to get them going, so it's not like the team is not involved in some way. But anyway, I don't want to go too far into that. But it was
pretty
a good
decent
World Series.
Decent World Series. Fun to watch. So I'm sure the ratings will be good. So now we get to move on to college basketball and all those other things that we have in front of us. College football finishing up, of course. Last weekend, not good for Indiana as they continue their just horrifically disappointing season. And I don't see that getting any better, to be honest with you, unfortunately.
No.
The Colts, my God. Gee whiz. I mean, that was just I was watching every play of that game, and I'm like, man, there's just some games you just have to win, and that was a game they just had to win. It's at home, divisional foe, Tennessee, all that stuff, and they just didn't get it done.
No, I mean, you go into that game, you're 2 games behind Tennessee. You win that game. You're 1 game behind Tennessee. You don't have to worry about that tiebreaker, the head-to-head. And, you've got 9 games left in the season to make up 1. I really like your chances. Plus, now we learn that, Derrick Henry, unfortunately, has a very serious injury and may be out the entire season. They just signed Adrian, the fossilized remains of Adrian Peterson. So, I think they would have had a chance, and they absolutely blew it. in myriad ways, and now they're screwed. I think they'll be very, very, very fortunate to go on a big time run in the second half and somehow get a wild card spot. But you can forget about the AFC South.
And then the Pacers, they're kind of up and down to start the season. Looks like.
Yeah, right? They're not up and down. They're mostly down. I mean, they're
trying to be nice.
They're 2-6. They look good against San Antonio the other night. I went to the game. I thought that Miles, when he's active and physical, is still a really nice player. I think they need to trade him at some point and fairly soon. But he showed, what kind of value he does have and can have to another team. But I think I look at the Pacers, man, and nobody's showing up at the games. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Part of it is the TV issue. It's very hard to get their games if you have certain cable systems or streaming systems, whatever. And I think it's out of sight, out of mind. They are last in the NBA in getting people in the seats in attendance. I don't know why that word was so hard to come up with. I guess I haven't had my coffee. And they're in last place by a lot, by almost 2,500 fans behind the Washington Wizards. So, I think the TV thing is a problem. I think the fact that they're just not terribly good or interesting. They don't have any guys, star power, you know what I mean? And so I think they're going to need a shakeup here sooner or later. I really do.
And speaking of the Colt or it's the Pacers, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Well, no, but I meant something bigger than that. You have a story and we always see these stories of teams doing things in the community around Thanksgiving or Christmas and this and that. But this one's kind of different. It's not kind of different. It is way different because first of all, it takes an hour and a half bus ride to get to this place. Mm-hmm. So they're not like they're not like riding down to the other side of town to do this.
Right.
The story you had out yesterday.
Yes.
Came out yesterday. It's just so much deeper. I'm trying to set the stage a little bit. Bob's most recent story in The Athletic involving the Pacers going out to Putnamville Prison. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you take it from there. But yeah, I just want to set the stage because this is not normally, like you said, they're going to be out here. They're giving out some turkeys and here. Right. This is they had to get on a bus and ride out for an hour. Get to this place. Yeah. Probably got to go through all this when they get there. Go through all
Absolutely.
this stuff, and it's a gigantic process. Mm-hmm. And then I can only imagine the mental process that these guys start going through with this, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, look, virtually the entire team was out there. There are a couple of guys who were working on the rehab who needed to stay behind, but virtually the entire team, a lot of front office people. Steve Simon, the owner of the Pacers, is very involved in this particular program and really all sorts of initiatives. Steve Simon is a very progressive dude. And we get out there, we go through the whole security deal. And what was cool was they had we all saw there was the basketball game. That was the fun part. But before that, there was an hour-long round table that included everybody from the Pacers organization who was there. And I don't know, 10 to 15, they call them residents. They're not called inmates or convicts or criminals. They're called residents. Look, I don't make the rules. I just follow them. And it was really cool to listen to all these guys tell their stories. And what we forget is, a couple of the Pacers players, including Miles Turner, have people in their families who are incarcerated. Miles talked about how his mother is one of 10 children, and 3 of them have been incarcerated. 2 are in for life. So, wow. I think that, a lot of these players grew up in situations where they were surrounded by people who kind of went down the wrong path. So there was a real commonality. I just thought the humanization of it was what made it special. You had players and residents talking like like brothers, and it was just a really cool thing to watch and to witness. And then, of course, they played a basketball game afterwards, and I wrote about the kid who looked like Michael Jordan out there, and how he felt about playing so well in front of the Indiana Pacers. Can you imagine that? You know, you're stuck in prison. The Pacers come visit, and you go out there and score like 1,000,000 points and really impress these guys. I think it's pretty cool.
Now, wasn't there a kid, someone that actually had a scholarship?
Yes, that's the guy I'm talking about, Travion Qualls, who was kind of the lead to my story. He had a scholarship to Manchester, I guess Manchester College, and he played for 2 years. And then for whatever reason, he got involved in the robbery of a convenience store where he was the getaway driver, or so he tells me. And he got 6 years. Now it's been bumped down or taken down, but reduced, I should say. But, you know, everybody's got an amazing story. I had somebody tweet me the other day, say I should just go all around the country and do these stories and turn it into a book. And it's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
No, because well, we've seen what's the guy's name down in Dallas? I forget what NBA. This is on the NBA level. He was an NBA player out on the street that they picked up. Mark Cuban.
Oh yes,
actually got involved.
I see his face in front of me.
Yeah.
Well, he had serious mental health issues. You know, and look, most of these guys, they either you know, drugs or mental health, or they came up you know, with absolutely nothing, where they felt that they had to deal drugs just to support their families. I mean, the stories are so sad and so touching. Look, there are some people in that prison who are just bad freaking people, you know, who are just evil, who just did really horrible things. But you get to talk to a lot of them, and a lot of them just, you know, they grew up, you know, in the projects. They were surrounded by drugs. They had no opportunities. And this is kind of I mean, I heard the same story or a version of it at least 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
It's amazing, and it will never cease to be amazing, because that's always going to be there. But
unfortunately,
but to see guys get redemption, there's no story better than a story of redemption,
right?
And that's where so many times you see either a player getting introduced to someone, or somehow it comes out of this. But it's just great stuff, man. And make sure, if you're not a subscriber to The Athletic, you should be. I am. Go there, and that's where Bob is, and we appreciate him and his great stories as he continues to lay them on us, man. Looking forward to it. I know you gotta get out of here, but get going today. But we'll talk about this more again next week.
I'll see you down in Bloomington on Tuesday for the season opener.
Oh yeah, basketball starts. That sport, that round ball sport.
Yeah, love it.
Have a great day, brother. We appreciate it.
All right, buddy. All right,
Bob
take
Kravitz
care.
From The Athletic joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And we've got a lot more coming up today. Trust me. Rick Bozich, Derrick Jackson will be joining us soon. And Nolan Harrison, former IU football and NFL player. Back with more right after this. Brought to you, of course, by the great folks at Southern Stone Restaurant. And don't forget, tonight, Coach's Show, Tom Allen, 7:05 out at Southern Stone, located at the corner of Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. Besides a great place to get a bite to eat, it is also where the IU basketball and football coaches shows are. Next Monday begins the basketball coaches show. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration or
My day's going well, Tim. What makes you ask that question? Having my morning coffee. Normally don't drink coffee actually in the mornings, but some days you need some coffee. Give you an extra little kick.
Man, I wish there was a way we could communicate muted.
You mean without the audience hearing us?
Yes.
Well, there is that private chat I've mentioned before. We don't really utilize that, but
I guess there's that.
But you mean like vocally is what you're saying?
Hey, John, how's your day?
I know. That's why I was responding earlier. I was like, "What? Why do you ask that, Tim?" And I started talking about my coffee, and then he accidentally.
Here's something I'm going to talk about. Look at that. Mainly because
I'm just as clueless as you. I don't know that I'll ever fool with cryptocurrency. I don't know.
Please, I want someone to explain to me what it is. First of all, can you buy anything with cryptocurrency?
I don't get the point of it.
Or are these people waiting for it to become something that you can buy, and then all of a sudden they're going to be rich with it?
That sounds like a good guess, but I have no idea. I don't know. I'm going to bring us back in. Derrick should be joining us in the next 10 minutes.
Oh, man, that means I don't get my coffee.
I know.
Find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. If you're looking for a deal, man, they've got them. And I mean, they've got them. Of course, Andy Moore always has the great deals. And it's tough enough to wear Pink Month. They're supporting the fight against breast cancer through the American Cancer Society. So every vehicle they sell, they are donating to that cause. But they've got 2021 and 2022 Honda Pilots, 0% APR financing, $0 down, as well as 2021 Passports. Same deal, $0 down, 0 APR financing. They've got other great deals. It's the place to go. And again, if you're an Indiana supporter, all these sponsors are supporting the work that we're able to do to bring to you guys. So remember that, please. Whether it's Andy Moore or AAA Insurance or Southern Stone Restaurant. Of course, if you're looking for a home, that's Cheryl Sizemore. We got them covered, man. We support those who support you. Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic, former IU player Steve Green and Brian Evans. So remember, support those who support you and bringing this information to you. You know what? Before Derrick gets on, cryptocurrency. What the hell is it? I mean, I just ignore it because I'm too old to mess with it. But what the hell is it? Why? Ross pointed out UK just announced an NIL deal that will pay players in FTX cryptocurrency. Does anyone know what's the best explanation for it? I know it's supposed to replace, or is a form of currency, but can you purchase things with cryptocurrency right now? Need to get some kind of banker on here. Anyone working in banking out there? Ross said he doesn't understand it either. Article said players will have access to FTX debit cards. Okay. Does that mean that those debit cards? Here's our man, DJ, the DB. Little nickname I threw on you already, man. How about that? How's it going, Derrick?
Man, listen, I tell you, man, that World Series game was phenomenal. I'm telling you, man, I had always thought, I don't know where you are in the show, but I know at some point we'll get to it. So don't let me put the cart before the horse. But I'm doing fine, John. How you doing?
Well,
Jim, I'm sorry.
Well, John's on here too, but perfect that you joined, because what I was actually just talking about right now, because you might have, being a smarter individual than I am, I was talking about cryptocurrency. What in the hell is cryptocurrency, and where can you purchase things with cryptocurrency? What is it? I'm clueless.
You know, I haven't really done that much investigation on it, but in this world of different types of financial vehicles, right now I'm old-fashioned. I like to see the dead presidents on the face of my money. So I don't think I'm going to do anything like that.
A piece of paper or a blue card, man. Yeah, we're going to one day. I'm gonna get somebody in. I got plenty of friends that are in the banking business. I'm gonna pull them on here. We'll do that. But yeah, the World Series was fun to watch, and that's all that matters. As long as it's fun to watch. Of course, it wasn't fun for Houston fans, but it was a good series. Now that's over, baseball's put to bed. So now we got to focus on football. College basketball is about to tip off Tuesday, Derrick. Tuesday, man. Whoop. We'll be baby here. Indiana still has a football season to play. Unfortunately, I just don't see things getting any better for the Hoosiers on that side, on that deal on the gridiron, man. It's just going to be a season that they're going to have to flush. Not that the season's over with, and I know that you've got games to play, so I'm not saying that you give up on those, of course, because it's an opportunity. Actually, it's an opportunity to stand up. It's an opportunity to turn around. It's an opportunity to do what you have not done, and that's win, and that's execute, because you have teams coming up: Minnesota, Rutgers, Purdue, Michigan. That's gonna be a tough. That's a tough ask, especially for a team that's been struggling like Indiana has, to go up there, because Michigan needs that win. Well, they don't need it, but they're gonna have 110,000 strong, and yeah, that's a tough ask there. But the Rutgers games, the Minnesota game at home, the Purdue game, those are actually winnable games for this team, because I continue to look back at the Cincinnati and the Michigan State games and shake my head knowing that Indiana could have won both of those games. And you look at how Michigan State is being, oh my God, they're so good. Oh, Cincinnati is. I don't think they are. I don't think that Cincinnati's that good, and I don't think Michigan State is that good. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, one thing's for certain. They were good enough to beat us. They beat our butts. I'm not one to shy away from defeat when defeat happens. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Like I always say, we are right there. And I take John's take on this. We are on the doorstep of dominance. I remember a season like that under Bill Mallory when I was there. Okay, we couldn't beat in Ohio State, and it wasn't even expected. We couldn't beat in Michigan. And you're right. Michigan State is not that great of a football team. And neither is Michigan, in my opinion, neither is Cincinnati. But you see, we can compete. But what was happening was we didn't put everything together from what I seen, aside from, a few bad play calls. Everybody's calling for Nick Sheridan's head. Defensively, we shut down. Nobody's calling for Charlton Warren's head. So guess what? We have the right people in place, and I'm gonna say that. And I live by the fight song. Never daunted. We cannot falter in the battle with tried and true. And this is what's gonna happen. I'm telling you right now. head coach Tom Allen, who's the best in the business, in my opinion, right now, he is going to turn this ship around. So those out there that are calling for his dismissal already, those that are calling for him to be fired, forget it. Tom Allen is here to stay. We love you, Coach Allen.
Yeah, that's not happening. I don't even, that kind of stuff I ignore when I see that stuff.
Right.
Right now. But yeah, but they are going to have to make some changes. There's no doubt about that. I think changes are coming, and you have to make adjustments. And
yes, you do.
And you have to acknowledge. You have to acknowledge that you have to make adjustments, and that's the first step. And then making those adjustments. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Julia says, Tim, cryptocurrency is like buying tokens for an arcade game, but it is digital and used for buying or trading goods and services. Its security is the advantage of using this form of currency. Okay, but where are these tokens, man? Do you actually get to hold these tokens, or are they like poof in the air tokens? Right. I don't like poof in the air tokens. I want to hold it in my hand. So I'm not clear on this, man. So Julia says, I don't trust crypto due to central bankers. They don't like currencies which compete with theirs. See, forget it. Just give me them greenbacks, baby.
So let me ask you this right here. Remember when Trevor Lawrence converted all his money to Bitcoin? Something like that. Didn't when he signed, he had all his money.
That's like the same thing, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Hey, listen, man, I ain't Trevor Lawrence, but with that kind of money, man, you ain't transferring my money to nothing but greenbacks, baby.
You would think all these smart listeners we have. Somebody, I'm about to reach out. Let me see if I can reach out to him while we're on the show here. I'll do that. But let's see. What's been going on with you, man? Since we talked.
Nothing, man. Listen, I'm excited. I'll be back for the Minnesota game.
Oh, that's a big game. That's an important game.
Yep, that's an important game. Living the retirement life down here in South Florida. We've got some cooler weather. What we call cold. It's nothing compared to what you guys call cold up there in Bloomington. But everything's been going pretty good. Just been excited to get an opportunity to connect with a lot of my former teammates. Connect with Indiana University. Spending a lot of time with my son and my little doggy. So that's really, man, that's all I've been up to. Just living life and enjoying life, Jim.
Oh, and bringing the heavy artillery later today too with Nolan Harrison. Funny because I've wanted to get Nolan on for a while. So that's awesome. I see that. We talked about basketball and Rob Cassidy, one of the national rivals writers, listed as which team outside of the preseason top 25 intrigues him the most. And he listed Indiana interests him because he has no idea what to expect. A new coaching staff tends to breed optimism, but he is also incredibly high on freshman Tamar Bates and his upside as a freshman. Trace Jackson Davis is back, and the Hoosiers did some work in the transfer portal as well. He thinks there's no doubt Indiana will be improved, but just how much to expect in year one under Mike Woodson era remains a bit of a mystery because the roster still lacks depth. This could be a team that finds its footing mid-season and really starts to click in Big Ten play. Dan McDonald says, I'm really intrigued by Mike Woodson's transition to coaching into college after spending so many years in the NBA. The Hoosiers had a really good offseason on the recruiting trail, and now it's time to see what Woodson's first Indiana team looks like on the court. Race Thompson, Trace Jackson Davis are back to hold down the front court. The additions of Miller Kopp, Parker Stewart, Xavier Johnson via the transfer portal, and Bates as a late signee in 21 class. Pretty strong nucleus to build around. He'd expect this team to get better as the year goes on. And then Rob Shaw says Indiana, they return All-American candidate Trace Jackson Davis at 19-9. Up front, 27-game starter Race Thompson in the backcourt. So all these guys, Indiana is a team that on the basketball side that, and it's true, they are going to be intriguing because they might be the most mysterious team because they brought in so many new parts. I don't know that there's a team in the Big Ten that has brought in more new parts than Indiana because you've got virtually an entire new coaching staff, additions to that staff with Thad Matta, incoming freshman Tamar Bates, like they mentioned, some transfers out. So it's going to be fun, and it all gets off on Tuesday, man.
Yeah, it's going to kick off. I was excited to hear talking about Indiana basketball. Here again, we're a team that looked good on paper, just like we did on football, and just like we did during the preseason football. And I think that with Coach Woodson there, it's going to, fans, listen, guys, we have to be patient. Patience is key. Coach Mike Woodson brings a lot to the table, and the roster is no doubt improved. But I think over time we're going to get better. The comment about getting our foot in midseason is going to be great. And how about the former player, OG Anunoby?
Man,
all right,
he 36 career high the other night.
36 points. He lit it up for Toronto. I was like, so glad to see this guy, man. And he's in the prime of his career. I think he's in his 4th year in. And we got a lot of Hoosiers that are representing at the NBA level, man. So I'm telling you, it was just good to see that guy. I hadn't seen him in a while. He was there, when the former coach was there. So I know he has to be pretty proud of that, to see his player accomplishing so much in 4 years.
OG Anunoby is just a great story. I hope I don't tell it too much, but I just love it. His story. And I know the audience has heard it, but, Tom Crean had a lot of strikeouts on players, but he had a lot of home runs too on guys that people would not have had. Everyone except for Romeo Langford and Eric Gordon, that's in the NBA right now, that's from Indiana, is from the Tom Crean era. But OG was the one that just always resonates in my mind, because when he was out scouting Juwan Morgan, he went to Missouri to some AAU event to watch Juwan Morgan play. And while he was watching him, he saw this other dude. It was OG Anunoby. He's like, who's that? And he wasn't on the roster that they hand out. They give the coaches these rosters when they get there. He wasn't listed on there, so he had to find out who he was. And it turned out to be OG Anunoby, and they ended up bringing him to Indiana. And then all of a sudden, people are saying, well, this dude's an NBA talent. And I'm like, what? I didn't see NBA talent in him. He's not scoring. His defense was phenomenal, but it just shows you the subtle things that are seen by the keen eyes way before some of us others. But he's not a guy that came in and was averaging, dunking the ball and doing all this stuff that grabs your attention. And yet, look at him. He's in the NBA. He's, what is this, his 4th year already? He's getting better. He just now had his career high in points. I mean, he's just continuing. His entire career has been a slow, methodical climb.
Right.
There's none of this up and down stuff. It's just been a slow, methodical climb. And that is the best way in all of sports to achieve anything, in my opinion.
Right. And it happens like that. And just glad to see the guy. I mean, there were others. I don't know about Yogi Ferrell. Now, was Yogi Ferrell part of the Tom Crean era too? Yogi Ferrell?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. I know he's still in the NBA. Then there's another guy. I can't think of his name. I want to say he doesn't play for the Mavericks. I don't know if he plays for the Rockets. There's another guy. He can't think of his name right now. He's doing pretty good as well.
And we're going to talk about this cat, Jordan Geronimo. Tim says he reminds him of OG. It's exactly right. But we got lots more as well. Who's coming up next? John?
Oh, nobody right now.
Okay.
We have no more segment.
Rick Bozich is later on, but we got more coming up to you. Nolan Harrison joins us later as well, but we got plenty more. Stay tuned. Brought to you by our good friends, like I said, Andy Moore Honda. If you're looking for a deal, go to Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. They've got you set up. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Hey, we all need insurance.
Derrick, you already let Nolan Harrison know about 10:20s when he's coming on?
Yeah, I told him 10:20. You can you can reach out to him and just kind of reconfirm that. But I got him up on social media, and he gave me a thumbs up. So
okay,
I did tell him.
Shoot me over. Text me his number, and later on I'll confirm with him if he's still good.
Okay, now I don't have his phone number. That I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Don't worry about that then. Yeah, because you already sent me his email.
Yep, got his email. I told him, I said, hope all is well. You'll get an email tomorrow morning from John Alden, the show's producer, at the email he provided, and just simply click the link and he'll be brought in from backstage. And I just told him that it was streamed live in real time. And I told him his time was 10:20 Eastern Standard, 10:20 a.m. So he's got a thumbs up, and he gave me a thumbs up on that.
Perfect. Well, we'll see him then.
Yeah, I'm going to get you guys remember Stacey Dawson. He works for the NFL. I think he's somewhere in DC, somewhere over in that area.
So he's working for the Players Association.
Yep.
That's cool.
I'm gonna get Stacey Dawson on next week. You guys remember Stacey Dawson?
Oh yeah, man.
Yep, I'm gonna get him on next week.
Man, you're loaded with gold, aren't you, DJ?
Man, listen, I got these guys, man. I got these guys. I'm gonna reach out. Hey, it's a long shot, but I'm gonna reach out to Trent too. Hey, Trent, what's up, brother? I remember when he played with the Miami Dolphins, man.
Hey, I was in school. I was at the Notre Dame game in '91 in South Bend when Indiana played Notre Dame and Trent Green was the quarterback.
Yeah, Trent's a good friend of mine, man. He, obviously he's in the big media world. So I don't get a chance to talk to him too much. But I remember when he was playing for the Dolphins, he got me out there on the field one time, and I was
dude, I love Trent Green, man.
Good guy. Great. Hey, him and his wife Julie, great people. Well,
all right, here we go.
Brand new 2021 Honda Passport. Also 0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by AAA Insurance. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It's Hump Day, man, and we are going to get you through it. Looks like another nice day out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very nice where my man DJ is.
Absolutely beautiful outside.
Nice. Shaking my head. But it is that time of year where football teams make or break their season, DJ. They've either gotten to a point where they've kind of buried themselves, and some teams are still at a point to where they can climb out of that. Like last week, the Colts. That was a loss that had they managed to get that win, that would have made up for that loss to the Ravens a couple weeks ago, because that was a tough one to get. But having both of those losses, that's going to be tough for them to come back from, I think. Right. Indiana, on the other hand, they're still. So you're saying there's a chance? There's still a chance, but the chance is minuscule for bowl eligibility. I mean, there's no margin for error. You can't lose. Right. You've got to go to Michigan and win. You've got to go to Purdue and win. Right. You've got to do some things that are really a difficult ask. So, right. And then let's say you go to Michigan and you lose. All right, you've lost all hope for bowl eligibility, but you still have 4 games yet to play. You've got how do the coaches keep these guys up? How do the players stay up? Because once you've passed that Mendoza line where you can't achieve bowl eligibility, but you've got 4 games left. 4, not 1 or 2. That's another month of practice, another month of having to stay up mentally, another 4 weeks of having to get up for a game each week. There will be a rival in there with Purdue. That's a lot of stuff to build on, to have to work on.
You ask yourself, this time of the year, what is our purpose? Why are we here? What are we trying to accomplish? You go back and you take a look at your preseason goals, see what you have accomplished, see what you have not yet accomplished, and see what you still can accomplish. And I stress this every week, the team leadership within the team is going to have to practice, going to have to watch film, going to have to make changes. Everything is going to have to be done with a purpose. You're going to have to see and believe. You're going to have to believe that, listen, man, we can get this thing done. We can still turn this season around. There's some games that we're going to play that are very impactful. So if you've got, and I don't think Tom Allen has this because he's one heck of a coach. Nobody has jumped ship. Nobody has given up. Everybody is fighting. I mean, look, man, I mean, we're the point now, like you said, we are now seeing Donovan McCullum. Okay. We're down to our third string quarterback. Okay. God, that wasn't even supposed to play this year. Okay. So we have an opportunity to make a very big impact. Purdue, we're coming for Purdue, and that's a team right there. That's an impactful game for a lot of different reasons. But right now, we've got to take it one game at a time and focus on this Saturday that we have coming up. That's what we got to focus on. And we've got to go to the big house. You know, I played many games there in the Bo Schembechler era. And I tell you, man, those 110 screaming literally right in your ear, Indiana football. You got to focus, baby. Focus.
Yep, and that's what they have to do. Fortunately for IU fans, basketball season starts on Tuesday, and they're going to be looking at that.
Exactly.
And it actually does take a little pressure off the football team, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's not the way a lot of fans wish that that's the way it was, but it is. And they're going to have to come back and recapture that. The rest of the college season, all right, here's a discussion I've been having. Cincinnati. I keep having this discussion with people. I in no way think I've seen Cincinnati play. I in no way think that Cincinnati is even close to being one of the top 4 teams in the country. I'm sorry. Indiana should have beat that team, and Indiana is not one of the top 4 teams in the country. I just don't see, just because they're undefeated, yeah, they got by Indiana and they got by a mediocre Notre Dame team. I just don't see Cincinnati as being a top 4 team in the country, and they're going to, claim it's because of that they're Cincinnati, that's the reason they're not getting the love. I just don't think they're that good. I've seen them play. They were getting manhandled by Indiana until they lost Micah McFadden. Indiana had them shut down until that point. So I'm like, this is not one of the top 4 teams in the country. But that's just my opinion. And the first deal came out yesterday, college football playoff.
Yep, it came out. But here's the key, Jim. Listen at this. Okay. All right, here we go. Think about our strength of schedule at IU versus Cincinnati. Okay. Miami of Ohio, Murray State. Then they played us. Notre Dame, middle school team. Temple, UCF, Navy, Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida, SMU, Eastern Carolina. But so I'm with you. You got them in the top. You got them in the top 4. Look at our strength of schedule, Jim. So I see your point. And you listeners need to understand. Listen, if Indiana had that type of schedule, things would be a lot different in Indiana. But guess what? They wouldn't do Indiana. Yeah, they wouldn't put Indiana in the top 4.
No,
but they put Cincinnati in the top 4.
That's a great point, because Indiana still had to fight that stigma last year with the wins that they had. They were still fighting that stigma. So right. I just don't. I'm sorry. Cincinnati is just not that good. I've seen them play live. I don't think Michigan State's not the 3rd best team in the country. I've seen them play. Indiana could have beat them too.
Yeah, man. We got. We're Cincinnati. They're playing football teams that they can step on. Okay. I mean, you're going to have success, but how do you justify the numbers? Listen, I understand wins is what it takes, But you're not going to take it. I tell you what, take that same Cincinnati football team, bowl committee, put them in the SEC, put them in the Big Ten, and see if they come out like that. I doubt it.
Yeah, and actually, there aren't any dominant teams this year. Georgia, but mine is Georgia. Georgia may be the only dominant team as of right now. Not saying there's not some good teams, but dominant. Usually, you've got Clemson and Alabama, and you've got 2 or 3 that are really up there to question. Well, no, you've got Georgia, who's already beaten Alabama. Then you got Michigan State at third, and there's no way they're the third best team. Oregon, they beat Ohio State, who is next at 5th. And then you got Cincinnati, Michigan, Oklahoma, Wake Forest. There's just Notre Dame is 10th. The teams are just not quite as good this year as they have been the last couple of years. Clemson just falling off the cliff, man. Amazing.
It happens in everybody's career. And so I say this to football, anybody from the college football bowl committee listening. When we beat the teams that we beat last year, why you put us in the top 2? We should have been there. We beat reputable teams, but you got Cincinnati who beats teams 52-0. That's really D2 football. How do you justify it? So, that's why, like Coach Tom Allen say, earmuffs and blinders on, man. Because whatever with that. They don't. And I tell you what's going to happen too, Jim. Cincinnati's going to get exposed, listeners, and you need to hear. You watch what I tell you. Keep them in the top 4. They're going to get exposed when they run up against an Alabama or Georgia.
Yep, I'm ready for. I'm ready for some college basketball. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm ready for college basketball too, man. I'm ready to see what these Hoosiers got something going. I'm ready to see what's going to happen this year.
I'm ready to see the fans back. That's going to be so much fun. It's going to be exciting. Those college games, those close finishes. Looking so forward to that. It's just college basketball and college football are my 2 favorite sports. I have to acknowledge that. Just because there's just more upsets. It's still in the pros. Yeah, it's always still fun, but the NBA is not fun for me until the playoffs. The NFL is still great to watch. The NFL is really becoming more and more parity. I mean, they are really getting closer and closer to parity, I think, in the NFL.
What about
maybe any other sport?
Yeah, I meant to give a shout out and some love to 2 other Indiana football Hoosiers that were with the Titans. Westbrook, the receiver, and Roger Saffold. Westbrook had a decent game.
I saw Saffold on the field the other night.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, because I saw his nameplate in a play.
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous job. And Westbrook, man, he caught a real key touchdown pass the other day from Tennessee. So Westbrook and Saffold are doing really well in the NFL at this point. And then
and that's something you have to look at for this Indiana football team right now. Simi Cobbs, the guys you just mentioned. Think about those receivers. Think about the receivers they had a couple of years ago, though.
Mm-hmm.
They had multiple guys that were good like that. That they're not having right now. So that is actually paid a price. I thought Indiana had replaced their receivers pretty well, but maybe not.
Freifogel has not had the season that he would expect to have. DJ Matthews came in from Florida State, and unfortunately we lost DJ Matthews too. So and then we lost Wap. Wap is still in the NFL. He's on the practice squad, I believe, with Minnesota. So he's still hanging on.
Wap's a scrapper, man. Wap's a scrapper.
Yeah, he's a scrapper. And then we also have Stevie Scott III. I think he's still right now, still trying to find his way. He's still focused. And we still have Scales. He's still doing a great. Scales has been at it now for about 4 or 5 years, and he's been on and off with teams, but he's still focused. He was a great linebacker at Indiana, man. Scales was a great linebacker.
Man, are you kidding me? Yeah, they've lost some really good ones. And I think that they've lost more than I realized. I think they've lost more than a lot of people realize. as far as just really dog players. They lost some dogs over the last couple of years. And,
yeah, they have.
But also, and this has to affect the coaching changes. You've had different coordinators at both spots. And while I know Tom Allen likes to do things seamlessly, like an offensive coordinator, bringing in Nick Sheridan, which his idea that was going to be more seamless. I think it wasn't. I think it had an adverse reaction. Now, on the defensive side, he brought in someone completely new from the outside, and Charlton Warren. But a new face, completely new face. So you've got that's a lot of change. It's still change, even though Nick Sheridan was here, it's still changed. Now he's calling the plays. There's difference. So I think a team like Indiana, who is not what I call an experienced coached team, when you have that kind of change, that's going to have an effect in it, and I think it has had an effect.
Well, you got to think too. Tom Allen came directly from the high school ranks, from what I understand, but he has instilled philosophies that shows his maturity as a leader of young men, and he's had moderate success behind it, and that's why I believe in Coach Tom Allen's values and what he is trying to do. I think what's going to happen next year, I don't foresee us losing Nick Sheridan. I think maybe the play calling duties will change hands to maybe Tom Allen, head coach Tom Allen. He may, take those duties away, and he may call the plays, because Tom Allen is a guy to say, listen, if this ship crumbles, it's on me. This is on me. All eyes focus. The head coach in college football is the face of the program. So he's probably going to take those play calling duties away from Nick Sheridan. I mean, if I'm a head coach, I'm going to take them away. And I'm going to, now whether Tom Allen is an offensive or defensive minded guy, I'm not sure.
He's a defensive mind. See, that's the thing. Tom is totally defensive minded. He's been on the defensive side of the ball his career. And he's even been on record as saying, hey, I need an offensive head coach, basically. And
that's you're right.
And and that's why, to me, you have to have a guy that has either actually been a head coach, or he has a long time as being an OC. He's got a lot of experience and a proven track record of that. That's who has to be in that position for Indiana, in my opinion.
No, you're right about that. And it didn't help with losing. I mean, I don't care what OC you have. When you lose your starting quarterback, that's going to have a dramatic impact on your football team. And case in point, just quick shift to the NFL with Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Cooper Rush came in and did a phenomenal job for my Cowboys. I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. Just let everybody know that I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. Okay?
And keep being no Cowboy. Nobody likes the Cowboys. Nobody likes the Cowboys.
You see this? 5, baby. 5.
How about them? How about them
baby.
Cowboys?
Yes, sir. How about them Cowboys, baby?
That was funny, Jimmy Johnson. That was a hell of a run they had.
Yeah, when you come back, man, if we can talk a little bit about girls basketball too. I'm excited about that Grace Berger young lady up there at the Indiana boy. She is going to rock. These girls they're going to show up for Indiana this year.
We'll see it. Rick Bozich, Hall of Fame writer from WDRB.com, is going to join us next. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the fine folks at AAA Insurance. Be sure to find someone who cares about you. If you're in Southwest Indiana, Southern Illinois, give them a call. 812-477-9966. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market.
Hey, John, did you reached out to Nolan? Did you email him?
No, I'll send him a confirmation here real quick since we got about 20 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just do that. Yeah. I mean, he'll be there. Just didn't know if you had sent one.
Hello,
Rick. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, brother.
Doing wonderfully. Oh my God, I didn't see that. Who was the jockey? The jockey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, Miguel Minya?
Mm-hmm.
How old was he?
I think like mid-30s. Very sad.
What the hell was he? Did he get out of his car or something on I-64?
He got out of a Uber.
On I-64?
Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't. It was Halloween night, and he really wasn't thinking very clearly, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Damn it. That's a shame. How are you doing, sir, other than that?
I'm good. How are you?
Cannot complain. It's, basketball season's almost here.
Are you going to this thing on Saturday?
Which thing is that?
The thing that Knight's going to be at?
Oh,
Who's your hysteria?
I have no plans at this moment. I believe that is a what do you call it? The Hoosier Hyenas thing.
Hoosier Hysterics, yeah.
The Hyenas.
Okay,
what kind of crowd do you think they'll have?
Oh, it'd probably be decent. I don't think it's going to be on the scale of what they've done at other schools.
Hey, Derrick, he just got back to me. He just confirmed.
But I think all that matters is if he gets more follows and all that that's his concern.
Who, Eric?
Yeah. It's all for the kids, but it's basically for the attention.
Right.
And the control.
Yeah.
All right. Bring us back from break.
And you need to be insured by someone who cares about you. For those of you in the Southwest, Indiana, Evansville, and Southern Illinois areas, make sure to reach out to our friends at AAA Insurance today for your auto, home, life, and renter's insurance needs. You can reach AAA Insurance at 812-477-9966. That's 812-477-9966. AAA Insurance. Be covered by someone who cares about you.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday, and we are so fortunate to always be joined by Hall of Fame writer Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Make sure you give him a follow if you don't, because that is some of the best writing you're going to read. He covers everything. Did I say it wrong?
No, I just showed my logo, man.
I was going to say, man, did I get that wrong? That's ingrained into my brain. I remember. I'm from Southern Indiana originally, if you don't already know that. But I remember when WDRB came on to the air.
Right, 1990? That's when the news
started,
1990.
Oh, no. I mean, no. I'm
talking you mean the
Presto
programming
the Clown,
and there's some clown or something?
Presto the Clown, baby.
Presto the Clown.
Presto the Clown. I swear, it's one of those childhood things I remember. 4:30 in the afternoon. I even got to go on WHAS T-Bar B back in the way. Now we're going way back. How's it? What's new with you?
Oh, I'm going to Louisville exhibition game tonight. They playing West Georgia. They won their first game last Friday against Kentucky State. But yesterday, when I went to the KFC Yum Center, I went out into the arena looking if anybody had discarded any box scores from the IU secret scrimmage. I did find lineup cards, but all the box scores. Yeah, I found a lineup card. I tweeted it out.
That's funny.
They had lineup cards and everything for the secret scrimmage.
That's hilarious. We saw your post for the results.
Right.
It looked like an 11-point win. They hit 11. Dane Fife was actually on with us Monday and said they shot better in the first half from behind the arc. I think they were 5 of 10 in the first half overall, 8 of 23 for the game. But A win, I guess, is a win. They played 3 games now, and that's 3 wins. So I would have to think that they feeling pretty good about where they are. Especially, I keep going back to those 2 wins against the semi-pro team. That impressed me in and of itself.
Right.
But now you've had 6-7 weeks in between that. So I'm sure they're again happy with getting a win and seeing where they are offensively. But Tuesday we'll get to see for sure, as they'll be live in color on Tuesday night
against Eastern Michigan, right? 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that everything's getting kicked off there. The new Woodson era. So everyone looking forward to that. But it's just going to be, I think, a season. I look at the football season, and I was just talking to Derrick about the top 25. Other than Georgia, there's just no. We used to have Ohio State and Clemson and Alabama. Like who's better? Who's
right?
There's just this. I don't know if it's a post-COVID hangover, but there just doesn't seem to be dominance in that. And I don't know that we're going to see dominance in college basketball either, because that wasn't there last year. It was pretty tame, or not tame, but the parity was there, and that may be I think the Big Ten is going to have more parity this year than last year, even though you still have Michigan and Purdue at top, but there's just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Big Ten will be down a notch from last year. I think last year it was really good when they ended up having 2 number 1 seeds. Although neither of them really survived the first weekend, right? Michigan and Illinois.
Yep.
But this year, it seems like Purdue and Michigan are the top 2, and then the next group is probably Ohio State, maybe, and
Illinois. You got to put
Illinois.
in there.
I'm not as much of a believer in Illinois because I thought Io was just a fantastic player, and I know they played with him for a few weeks without him for a few weeks at the end of the year. But man, he's one of those guys that I think really good teams have that late in shot clocks, late in the game, you just give him the ball. And if what the coach is calling isn't going to work, he's going to get you points. And you got to have a guy like that. Indiana hasn't had one since Yogi Ferrell and Troy Williams and guys like that who could just, I'm better than you. I'm just going to beat you and get to the rim and score, get fouled, or draw a double team and get somebody else an easy shot. Curbello's good, but he's not Io. And then Indiana has a chance to be in the next group, although, I mean, the next group is probably 6 or 7 deep. Iowa should go backwards because they lost Garza and Wieskamp, who were first-team All Big Ten players. Wisconsin lost a lot of veteran guys, and they don't have Bo Ryan anymore. And Greg Gard is a decent coach, but he's not Bo Ryan. And, I see Indiana finishing anywhere from 5th to 8th.
And in his conferences, I don't know that there's a conference that's also dominant. It's like the same thing. Everything seems to be kind of spread out.
Right. I don't think the ACC is back to what it used to be when it was really, really good. It's good. It's not great. I think the SEC has taken a step forward. You look at what Eric Musselman has done at Arkansas and what Nate Oates has done at Alabama. They've not only recruited well, getting guys like Noah Clowney, but they've recruited well in the transfer portal. And the overall talent level in the SEC has gone up, and the overall commitment to basketball in the SEC has gone up because they brought in some really good coaches. Musselman being one of them.
Nate Oates again.
Nate Oates being another one. Bruce Pearl being another one. They got some guys who.
Texas, Rick Barnes.
Chris Beard. Rick Barnes at Tennessee, but Chris Beard will be coming into the league when Texas comes in the league, and Porter Moser at Oklahoma. So SEC basketball is a growth stock.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They're down in football a little bit, the Big 12, but the basketball they're making their bones. And then you talk about, didn't even think about the conference realignment from a basketball standpoint to the Big 12. I never even thought about that. But they're pretty solid as a basketball league, really solid.
Yeah, they are. For a lot of years, having lived down here, you knew it was basically Kentucky and Some years maybe Vanderbilt, some years maybe LSU, Florida, obviously under Billy Donovan, but nobody was consistently good. And I think now they've invested in facilities, they've invested in coaches, and they want to win. I mean, and they've won more national titles over the last 2 decades than the Big Ten's won by a pretty good margin. What is it, 3 or 4 to nothing? I mean, the Big Ten, after 21 years, the Big Ten needs to win a national championship.
Yeah, well, been saying that for a couple of years there, DJ. What's the last one? Michigan State?
Michigan State in 2000. Now, they had a bunch of teams get to the championship game, but they haven't won the last game of the year. So the Big Ten, I think interest-wise and money invested in basketball, the Big Ten still puts more resources into it than any other sport, but the SEC has closed the gap. There's no doubt about that.
Rick, go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, before that, just Rick, you were saying 2000 is Michigan State. I think before that, was it in Indiana in 87?
Michigan won in 89.
That's right, 80. That's right. I'm sorry, the Indiana 87.
Trying to think about in the 90s.
Does that one still count?
It's been a while. This what?
Does it still count?
Does that one still count? That wasn't the Chris Webber. That was Glenn Rice and those dudes.
Okay.
So that one wasn't called into question. So, I mean, Ohio State hasn't won one since like 1960 or 61, whenever it was. Wisconsin.
Bob Knight was on that team.
Right. Wisconsin got there against Duke in 2015, lost. Iowa's never got one. No. I mean, Maryland won one in 2002, but they were in the ACC, not the Big Ten.
And the funny thing is, every year you hear fans say, well, they beat up on each other. And I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing. I'm like,
every league beats up on each other.
Yes. I'm like, what do you think they're doing during the year? They're all playing, man. So Rick is very fortunate. Well, he's not very fortunate. He's a Hall of Fame writer. That's the reason he does this. But he gets to go see the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC, not so much as the Big 12 a lot, but
right. No,
but maybe you get to cover, 3 of the premier leagues, and you get to see a lot of the great teams. Is there really a difference in style of play? We saw the Big Ten get just annihilated in the tournament last year after being looked at as the best league in the country, but they got to the tournament and just got their legs cut out from under them. Is there a different style of play really, or is it just now everybody's just playing for their life in the NCAA tournament, and that was just an anomaly?
No, I think there is more. There is a bit of a difference in style of play. I think the Big Ten is more physical. I think the refs let more things go on, and especially on the defensive end, whether it's the forearm shivers to guys who are cutting across the lane or, hands on people or have it's more of a drive oriented league. I think the SEC and the ACC are a little bit more open court, free flowing games. The Big Ten reminds me more of what the Big East used to be in its heyday, where it was sort of a man's league. And I think that's really reflected in the Big Ten this season. If you look at probably the top 10 players in the country, the Big Ten has at least 4 of them, and they're all inside guys. They're not guards. It's Dickinson, it's Trace Jackson Davis, it's E.J. Liddell, it's Travion Williams. Is there one other one I'm forgetting? Kofi Coburn. 5 out of 10
of the year.
5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 best players in the country are from the Big Ten, and they're all post players.
Yep. Yeah, that says slow play. Got to have guards. You got to have a dynamic guard too.
Ross Point, before, and I'm going to keep saying it. To me, if you look at Indiana this year, they got 7 guards, right? I mean, they got Johnson, Lander, Finney, point guards, 3. They got Bates, 4. They got Galloway and Leal, right? That's 6. And then who's the 7th one? There's one other one. But anyway, they've got 7 guards. Who? Parker Stewart, 7 guards. They need to get like a couple of guys that really become dudes at guard, because that's what they've been lacking. You got to have guys who offensively can get you buckets so that all doesn't fall on Trace Jackson Davis. And secondly, you got to have guys who can really defend and not let the other team do whatever they want to do offensively. I thought that's been and not make stupid turnovers, which we saw for a few years, but
in abundance.
A couple of those guys got to really separate themselves and show, they can play with anybody in the Big Ten. And they haven't had that for a while. And that's what's going to determine how good Indiana is this year, in my opinion.
Right. Ross points out that the NCAA just announced the Oklahoma State Cowboys will be ineligible for this year's tourney.
Yeah.
I guess that stems back from the FBI investigation, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I'm sure that's what it goes back to. They're out of the tournament this year for 1 year.
Yeah, that's what that's being reported. And so I wonder if others will be following that, because there's other schools. Louisville is one of those, Kansas.
Arizona.
There's no
LSU.
way. There's no way, though, the NCAA is going to put all of those schools out.
No.
And I can't see Louisville, and you're closer to Louisville, being down there. That's the one that is really mind-boggling to me, because I'm like, wow, because they've got the history of the problems, recent problems that have compiled on top of each other, and committing an infraction while on probation for committing of infractions. I mean, back in the day, this was just a death penalty, but that's been removed. I think everyone knows that's not going to happen to anyone, right, because it affects too many other entities. But Louisville has to be hit with something. But even though that does not seem to be affecting their recruiting or anything else, they're going straight along business as usual.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris Mack's going to miss the first 6 games this year, and that's a university.
Well, that's another in front of something completely different too.
Right. That was imposed by the university president. He's going to coach tonight against West Georgia, and then he'll miss the next 6 games, and he'll be back when Louisville plays Michigan State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Why would he coach tonight? Because it's the first game?
What's that?
Why would he coach tonight's game and not just start?
Tonight's an exhibition game. Her penalty, the university president's penalty for him was 6 regular season games.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, the one reason that Louisville's case is taking longer is they've opted not to go through the committee of infraction. They're going through this newer body that was created several years ago. I think it's called the ARP or IARP or whatever it's called. It's a different group of. It's not the infractions committee. It's a different group of people. And although I think they were created, in fact, to help speed up the process, in addition to bring some different voices into the situation, it's been a slower process. So they're still waiting for a resolution to the case that involved Brian Bowen. And while they've been waiting for that case to be resolved, came the stuff that Dino Gaudio alleged that was going on the last few years. So yeah, it's a bizarre situation here.
It sounds like a lot of fun, man, keeping you guys busy.
Yeah, and it's an interesting football season here too. Kentucky has Tennessee this weekend, and if they can win that game, they'll go. I think they'll finish 10-2, which is a huge year for them. And Louisville has Clemson, and Clemson is the one team in their division that they've never beaten in the ACC. And as we all know, Clemson's down this year. They've got the lowest scoring offense in the entire ACC. And then Louisville next week is bringing Lamar Jackson back for the Syracuse game to retire his number and honor him. So interesting stuff. And then I'll ask you guys, having not seen much of the Maryland game, is Indiana going to win another game this year?
Yes, we are. We're going to win all of them.
We're going to win all 4.
I'm just telling you, I believe that. I believe Indiana will bring themselves back. The backbone will not break against Michigan. I know Michigan's out there. I know we got to go to Michigan, 110,000. But, listen, man, I think these guys are going to put it together this week. I think reality has set in of where, they're in control. They've been in control of their destiny from the beginning of the season. But right now we're at the home stretch. So I really think that we have an opportunity. It's a long shot. Yeah. I mean, we're on our third string quarterback. Guys are freshmen. So, but
here's my thing. I mean, as many questions as there have been, they're valid about the offense. It's the defense that looked really
last week
early in the year, was supposed to be really good, and has so many guys back. In the last 2 weeks, they really haven't stopped anybody.
I just said the very same thing. I mean, everybody was calling for Nick Sheridan's head. Now you want to call for Charlie Warren's head, and I really think that this defense that we have is phenomenal. These guys got to put it together, man. I think what I'm not seeing the focus from the team. Charlton Warner's players in position to make plays. We're not making the plays. Okay, so
right.
We may need some changes personnel wise on the football field.
Aren't they really banged up in the secondary too?
Yeah, they lost Taiwan and Reese.
Taiwan been out. Yep. So we've got some challenges, man, on both sides of football.
I think they win 2 more games. Unfortunately, I wish that wasn't the case, but I think
they're going to be Rutgers and who?
Minnesota.
Oh, I'm sorry, they've just played Maryland. Yeah, Minnesota, Rutgers and Minnesota at home, not Purdue on the road.
That's a tough ask on the road. And
David
Purdue,
Bell, if you don't have those DBs, man, you're not going to stop David Bell.
No, because Jeff Brom will just burn
going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. We're going to have, and you can't put us in man-to-man situations because Bell is. I mean, he's good. So we're going to play a lot of zone, man. In my opinion.
Hey,
I'll say this much. I think it's probably a good weekend to play Michigan because I know they're going to be angry because they just lost to Michigan State, but they might also be deflated because they were in position, they would have been the team in the playoff rankings when it was announced last night. Not Michigan State, and they were in that game and they blew it. And now what they're hearing around them is, Harbaugh's never going to get it done, and this season's a disappointment. And I think they still have to play Penn State and Ohio State too, so they're going to take a couple more losses. So I wouldn't think they'll take Indiana super seriously, and I would think they'd be a little bit discouraged. If Indiana's good enough, this could be the kind of game they could actually shock somebody. And if you look around the Big Ten, that's been the most, I don't know the right word, just confusing thing about Indiana is Illinois went to Penn State and won. Purdue went to Iowa and won. Some of the teams that haven't been great have had their moments. And Indiana, aren't they the last winless team in the Big Ten?
Yep.
I think so. Yeah.
Can you remember a season when a team was projected to do what they were supposed to do and have a season like this? It's mind-blowing how
it is shocking.
How far short of what they were supposed to be this team has been.
Yep, it has been a very, very disappointing season for them on the football side, and hopefully they can get things changed around. What's coming up next for you that the people need to know about?
Tonight, Louisville, West Georgia. Saturday, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Lexington, and I'll be in Bloomington. I'll see you next Tuesday night for the opener against Eastern Michigan.
I'll have that White Sox shirt.
Okay.
Hall of Famer Rick Bozich joining us from WDRB.com. I can't thank you enough, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great week, guys.
You bet. Rick Bozich joining us. We're back with Nolan Harrison right after this. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat brought to you by the great folks at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Back with more after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurants.
Whether it's a celebration. I'm sorry, Nolan. I couldn't get them to quit.
No worries. Hey, Nolan, you're muted. Oh, you're good now.
There you go. How long have you been? So you're involved with the Players Association, right?
I am.
Cool. You probably would not know him because there's no crossover, but a guy named Dean Wells, he played linebacker. It's been a few years now, but 10 years in the league. I dated his sister. He played for Seattle and
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Carolina. He ended with Carolina, the Panthers, his last few years.
Was it still the AFC West Seattle Seahawks then, or is it?
I think it was because this is back in the late 90s, 2000.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I really. So my last year playing was 2000. So his name does ring a bell. You always. When you're looking at other defenses playing the offenses that you're gonna play, yeah, his name does come up, and we both played for a long time, so that makes sense.
Shit,
he was on that defense with
the big boy.
He passed away. Cortez.
Yes, Cortez Kennedy. Yes.
I think Winstrom went there too at that time. Yeah, they had a stacked defense then.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Big
Man,
Nolan, how you doing, brother?
What's up, DJ? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, thanks a lot, brother. How you doing, Jim? I got to tell you a real quick story about this guy. We came in together. I'm sitting in the student union, getting ready to eat. I see this guy. Look like he's taller than the skyscraper comes in. So I asked one of the coaches, I said, we gonna have an NFL, some players gonna come in and talk. They said, no, that guy's a freshman. I'm like, get out, this guy was humongous.
Hey, Derrick, save this story for when we're on the air. It's a good story. Okay. We'll tell it again when we come back.
Hey, Nolan, I also, my roommates, Jim Sams and Vince Fisher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I lived with those guys.
Very cool. Very cool. How are they doing?
You know what? Jim is out in Iowa with a family, and Vince, I think he might be a state trooper. He was a fish and game life warden, I think, but he might be a trooper now.
Okay.
Come on, Vince, right? Vince?
Big Vince, yeah.
I think he was Indiana State trooper. I believe that's what he's doing.
I was like, that is not who you want to get pulled over by. Vince was 6'3", 3. He was 6'3", 3, whatever. I've told this story before. We were living in his brand new apartment.
Hey, here we go, Jen. Sorry to cut you off. Got a few seconds. Coming back.
Sorry.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday, and man, we've got a way to get you over the hump. It's already been a great show, but it's about to get better. How about Nolan Harrison, former Hoosier, NFL player representative? You got all kinds of titles, hats going on, Nolan. How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, wonderful. Can't thank you enough for taking time to join us through to Derrick. Derrick, thank you, man. But great. Loved what he's able to get some of his old teammates and some of my old roommates, actually. You played with Jim Sams, Vince Fisher back in that era. What a great run of guys you guys had back then.
It was fun. It really was. I mean, it's I think at that point, and maybe even since, because I know there's been some good teams since, but I got to say our run, we have to have been the pinnacle of Indiana football. And the fun part is that we were competing with the national champion Indiana men's basketball team. They were in their heyday as well.
That's right.
We were trying to cut our own, identity, at school and in the Big Ten, and it was just a fun time to be there. It really was.
Yeah, and it was, and not only that, actually, men's soccer was winning a national championship during that time.
Yep.
So it was a golden age. 6 bowl games in 8 years was that run, Mallory. And unfortunately for me, I was in school during that time, during part of that time. And I remember going to some of those bowls. I was working in the media and going down to Atlanta, Tennessee. I remember Auburn. I'm trying to remember some of these games, but yeah, and getting to play and because people had not seen up until that point. You had to have you'd had to be an older person with a memory to have seen Indiana playing in those bowl games against those kind of teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had to go all the way back to Jim Pont in '67. So yeah, and that was the fun part about it too. We were hyper aware, even in the era of not this, right? Social media, doing all the instant now, you can look up anything immediately. We were still going to the library to get a computer. We were still looking up things on microfiche. So you really had to be a historian to remember.
He said microfiche
better than us. So.
He said microfiche, and if there's any students, they said, "What's that? What kind of fish? What kind of fish is that?"
Or the Dewey Decimal System. They think it's a new app.
Amazing. Now you're involved. All right. So now we've got the football team that has you've got Tom Allen's come in and last year really was able to raise the heights and expectations. And of course, this year has just sucked. Let's be honest, but it's not, they still have talent. This is a team that can come back next year, that can be better or can finish the season better. It's not like they don't have the talent and all that. So I expect them to be back. It's a different era in IU football. It's a different time in Big Ten football. Mm-hmm. How much has the league changed, or has college football changed since you were playing? It's a different game of sorts.
It is. I mean, it's the pass attack. It's the quick offense. It's tempo. It's some of it's beneficial to the fans. You're enjoying it. You're watching it. It's high scoring. So for the non-football aficionados, they love it because it's action. Pretty much whoever's got the ball last probably has a chance to win. I don't personally like that too much, being a former defensive player, and the nuances of what great defenses can do when you look at a great front four and what they're able to do if you have a suspect, back seven, or if you've got some all-star DBs. That makes it easier on the D-line and the linebackers so that we can kind of free up and make some plays. So the nuances of great defenses, I think it's lost in college, but some of those great players that you don't think, like we've had some really good IU guys make it pro, and you're like, I don't remember that guy playing, but all of a sudden they're blowing up at the pro level because they were actually taught how to play defense the right way. So I think there's hope for it, but it's a different game. It is a different game. It's exciting though. I'm just being a fan. It's exciting to watch. I watch other games. I'm a Big Ten fan when I'm not, when I'm watching Indiana, I watch us versus everybody else. And it's fun to watch. I'm still kind of trying to get used to, Penn State in the Big Ten and, Rutgers in the Big Ten and Maryland in the Big Ten and, all that stuff because we're old school. But it's a fun time. It really is.
But and the greatest thing has got to be, as a player for you in the NFL, the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, he's with the Raiders. There's no way I could ever say that without saying it like that. It just, the Raiders. You got it. It just comes out. If I was going to play for it, I grew up an LA Rams fan. I don't know why. And when they moved to St. Louis, I dumped them like a bad habit because they moved. But the Raiders is one of those. If I had to pick a team and I had no allegiance, I would play for the Raiders just because it's the Raiders, and it's got to be so cool for the rest of your life to be able to look back and say, man, I played for the Raiders for 6-7 years, whatever. That's awesome.
It's a blessing. It is. So, I'm a Chicago kid. So, obviously I'm a Bears fan. And during that time, Bears won the Super Bowl shuffle, all that good stuff, right? So they were awesome. But my AFC love, because, you can't have two NFC teams, it's your home team. My AFC love was the Raiders. And to be by them, and it's the same thing. The silver and black, they fit my personality. Completely embraced me when I got there. It was just, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And then when you look at the film, right? So our jerseys haven't changed, right? So when I look at film footage of me, and sometimes one of the fans on Twitter put a really nice post up yesterday of the last time we beat the Giants and put the stats up and put the pictures up. You look at that and it looks exactly like it would be today. Like I'd still be on the team today. Not like it's a throwback. Like, oh man, look at that old vintage film of you, that old vintage uniform that you have on. So it's kind of cool too. I kind of living more in the moment, even though that was 20 plus years ago. But there's nothing like the silver and black. Steelers the same way, same uniforms, great organizations.
I was going to say that next.
Yeah, lots of.
I'm not even a Raiders fan, but there's nothing like the silver and black. It's just like, to me, those are the best colors in all of sport. That is the most representative. There is not a team in sports, and I mean sports, to me, that is more represented by their color and their jerseys than and I'm going to call them the Oakland Raiders. They're always going to be the Oakland Raiders to me. But the Raiders, it's just them, Derrick. It's just, I mean, you could throw up any jersey, and I'm like, the Raiders, it.
when you consider, first of all, like Nolan said, they fit his personality. Because I'm gonna tell you, go back to Big Ten football. Back then it was called smash mouth football. You got somebody like Nolan Harrison on the D line. You're not running on us, brother. You're not running on us. So you're gonna have to do something else. Then this kid, like I said, at the time he was a kid. I don't know where they get this guy from, because like I was telling you guys, in Florida they don't grow him like that. So I'm sitting here when we come in, this guy, I'm looking up at this guy like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know what I'm saying? Luckily he was on the defensive side of the football. But see, now, like Nolan said, the game has evolved so much. I mean, you got RPO, guys are throwing the football. I mean, if you take what they like, Kenneth Walker III, he's a good back. But with somebody like Nolan, you're not running A gaps. A gap, you can forget running the ball in the A gap, not happening. And with the Raiders, man, Nolan, let me ask you a question. Were you out there when Mario Henderson was out there with the Raiders?
No, I think he was after me.
Okay, yeah, because I coached with Mario here in Fort Myers. Him and I, we coached high school football, and unfortunately, he just passed away last year, as a matter of fact. But he was big number 75 for the Raiders.
Yeah, no, he was after me. There was, if there was a 75 during the rest of Howie, I played with Howie, and obviously Howie had 75.
Oh, okay.
My first 3 years in the league was with Howie, and then I don't think anybody wants to touch that number.
Howie.
Years
Howie, he means Hall of Famer Howie Long, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's what I'm saying. Another thing about the silver and black, I played with so many future Hall of Famers. I could not have picked a better team to learn how to be a pro. So many old vets, Ronnie Lott was my teammate. Eric Dickerson was my teammate. Howie Long was my teammate. Greg Townsend should be in the Hall of Fame. He was my teammate. Marcus Allen was my teammate. Roger Craig was my teammate. I mean, it was just, the list goes on. And those guys, Tim Brown was my teammate. All those guys, and they just wrapped their arms around us. There was a time where vets that weren't threatened by youngins. We were coming in hungry, beating people up, and trying to earn our stripes. And they just wrapped their arms around us, and it was a great environment, and we won. I mean, my first 2 years we went to the playoffs. There are teams I learned later on, talking to other old vets, that there were players who played 10 years and never made it to the playoffs. There were players who played 10 years on teams and never played on Monday Night Football. That was a given, playing for the Raiders every single year. So it was a great time to be part of those guys. And then seeing all those guys in the Hall of Fame now, and now I get to be responsible for helping them out and making sure that life after football is great for them. It's just fun. It's fun.
And not only that, I look through the you mentioned some of these names, but it's the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, some of the players, man, Art Shell, I'm just looking through this stuff and going, oh man, it's like a walk through history of the NFL, of the great history. And it's so cool to see that, because besides the Raiders, then you go on to the Steelers. Maybe are they behind the Patriots now? I guess maybe the winningest. Who's got more Super Bowls? I don't even know anymore.
They're tied. Thank you,
they're
Tom.
tied. So
thank you, Tom, for leaving, so that we're all tied at 6 Lombardis. So yeah, he left and got another one with another team, so it doesn't count. It's not the same team. So yeah, we're tied with them. They tied with us with the number of Lombardis. I think I think the Steelers will get another one before they will, but that's just me.
Hey, you're probably right. I don't know though, man. How about that kid? I mean, what's his name from Alabama that Belichick has there playing quarterback now?
Mac Jones.
God, dude, it's like Belichick. I just shake my head at him. And people, you cannot hate the guy. You cannot hate him. You just can't.
You can, but you got to respect the game.
Yeah.
You gotta respect what he's built. I mean, you can dislike him. I don't like his personality. He might not have been my coach, but you got to respect what that man has built. I mean, it's just incredible. It really is.
It's just so fun to watch. And then now we want to make sure you're involved in the Players Association. What all, and I know that involves the guys that they're still playing, or the guys that have stopped playing. Which end are you working on, or both?
Right now, so I'm the head of the division that helps former players. So I'm the head of former players for the PA. The PA is the players union for those who don't know that, and of course we serve the current players, but we also make sure we take care of our own and take care of the former players. So benefits, resources, opportunities. I'm in charge of making sure that the former players have that. We got 33 chapters around the country. There's 24,000 people who have signed a contract and play professional football that are still alive, and all of them, part of this great fraternity. So, just making sure that they're taken care of. So that's the 15,000 foot view of what my job is. It's way too long for a show, but it's
right.
That's good.
Now, how long have you been in this position?
11 years in August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So that's a serious career right there.
Yeah. So this job, it was funny. We keep track because it's about eras. I played 10 years in the NFL. And then I spent 8 years in finance, 2 years as an entrepreneur, and now 11 years now. So both in football are the longest stints of my career. But if you'd have told me I'd be, working for the union 8-9 years after I retired, I would have just shook my head like, nah, because I'm going to be president of a bank. That was my path. That's where I was going. My mentors were pushing me that way. But hey. Life works that way. You ride that wave, and it's been a calling, and I love it.
I want to be like Derrick. I just want to be retired down in Florida somewhere.
I'm enjoying it, man. And Nolan, by the way, man, Nolan, he's athletic himself, and I think his daughter's doing a phenomenal job. I think Nolan in volleyball. I was seeing something. I mean, she's doing a phenomenal job, man.
Yeah, I'm blessed. I didn't get him to get to Indiana. We went on recruiting trips there. Which was really cool too, having your kids that are athletics. I got 2 daughters. They both play volleyball. My youngest stopped playing as a junior. She wanted to concentrate on school, so she's a biomed major at Virginia Tech. My oldest is a finance major, and she played D1 volleyball at Marist College and was absolutely killing it. But two practices before the spring, and we all know this as athletes, tore ACL and meniscus, complete rupture. It's just the spring. She had her, set to surgery in July. And that ended her college career because she's got a high-paying job at Citibank waiting for her. She got an internship, and they offered her a job, and she's like, "Dad, I'm about to graduate. It's time for me to live my life." So I'm proud of her. We're up a senior
Smarts.
week. I got the stand. Yeah, hey, way smarter than me. She got that from her mama. She got some hype from me. She's 6'2", but thank God she got the looks and the brains from mama. So.
Yeah, my daughter played soccer all through, and now she's a freshman at Ole Miss, going to become an accountant. And I'm like, yeah, that was over here. That numbers, that math, y'all can keep that over there.
Yeah, right. That was over there. Yeah, you got that right.
Great careers, though. I love finance, so I'm glad that my oldest is going there accounting. I mean, I love finance. It's one of those careers that is almost recession-proof.
Ubiquitous. Yeah.
You could do anything with that. Then, of course, on the medical side with the youngest, if she makes it and continues to go on the path that she's on, they've both been dean's list the whole time they've been in school. So if she becomes a doctor, there's always needs for those two careers that there's always going to be a need for. And that's all you can ask for your kids, right? Put them in positions to be successful no matter what happens.
That's it.
Absolutely, man. And getting back to your job, this has just got to be fun. I know it's work. It's not like it's just you're just skipping around doing nothing, but it's got to be fun though to be able to have a job. Well, I know it is to have a job that you love what you're doing, and that you are passionate about what you're doing, and that what you're doing actually there's a reason for it, and you're helping people, and because especially some of these old players, what all is the scope of your help with these guys? What all are you doing?
So I guess
which I know you can't, because like you said, it's a whole bunch, but just to skip over it.
Yeah. So if we take a full spectrum of, say, at the right hand of the spectrum, soft benefits, right? We are a membership organization. Like I said, 23,000 of us, getting guys engaged, making sure that they understand what's going on, understand all the resources and opportunities. So that's why we're out. That's why we have chapters so we can go in and meet them. I'll be in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Before the year ends, I'll be in Indy. Going to all the different chapter cities and educating them on benefits and resources. So say the soft benefits are on one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum, the last CBA we just renegotiated. And that increased pensions. and disability and all across the widows and survivors for all former players. You know, whether you just got out, and then it raised everybody's pensions up from 2011 going backwards. You know, some guys are still getting the 250, 300s. Now everybody's up to 550. It's just so that's the scope, right? You know, the everyday living, you know, making sure, you know, they need jobs. We have job placement opportunities. We have career assessments. We have those things, you know, discounts, all that stuff, all the way to, you know, making sure that, you know, they get more money to retire when it's time for them to do so.
Yeah, and I know, because a lot of people think of the Nolan Harrisons or the Eric Dickersons or the guys that they knew that played for 10, 12, 13, 14 years. Lots of guys that played for 4 years that and got hurt or whatever. There's probably more guys that played for 4 years than guys that played for 10.
That's a great point. And a lot of people don't get that. I'm glad you brought that up. We just did, because I'm a big numbers guy, right? We just did. I tried to, did some data analysis on all of us as players, and I wanted to see how many players played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. At my 10 years, there's only 2.2 players. 2.2% of the players that have played who got to 10. The average career is 3.5. It's 2.5 for running backs, and it would probably be lower if it wasn't for those quarterbacks and kickers and long snappers, because they really they push the mean out a lot further, because their average career is maybe 8, 9, 10 years. You could be a backup quarterback 10 years as a starter, and then another 10 years as a backup. You're in the league for 20 years. Same thing with kickers and same thing with long snappers. So you take that out of the equation, you might be looking at 1 or 2. Vesting is only 3. You got to get 3 years in to get vested. So there are way more guys that are non-vested than there are who are vested.
And what that means, folks, is to get those benefits. And so making these teams is so important to these guys for the long-term benefits, because if you get hurt, an Achilles or whatever, knee injury that just takes you out, they've got to be able to have something to fall back on. And that's what I kind of had an understanding of that from like off the air. I dated a girl whose brother played a long time ago. And so that's what I was first. I used to have an NLPA hat. I don't know what the hell happened to it. Damn it. I had that. But yeah, I had just an understanding of it. And I'm like, wow. And it's where you really get an understanding of, it's not all cracked up like people think it is, man. It's a tough deal, especially for guys who that's their career. That's what their career was intended to be. And for those that get cut short, it can be really devastating.
It's absolutely.
I got one question to ask on that, Nolan. Does that count for players that say you have a player that only is never on an active roster? They're a practice squad player for 5 years. Those players count as well?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we're trying, over the last couple of CBAs, we've been trying to do some things for the practice squad guys. But yeah, I mean, like I said, taking care of the guys. My youngest former player is like 21, 22. My oldest former player is 100. And so you're talking to the guys in the different areas and hearing the stories. They used to be called taxi squad. And, they would hide players. And you might get a cumulative, you might get seasons in, but because you were never part of the active roster, and even their compensation is different, their pay scale is different, you don't get a credited season. You have to be on this. You have to be on the active roster for 2 games.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah, for it to be a credited season.
Oh, just 2 games per season.
Yeah. If you make it those 2 games, then you're golden. But here's the kicker, right? If you spend the first 2 years just barely getting that, you're probably going to get cut because the league knows this too. The teams know this too, and they're not in the business of just letting thousands of guys vest, because that's more money out of their pocket that they have to pay.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I have a name for this though already, and it's kind of a play on the Rooney Rule, but we can call it the Rudy Rule. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And they gave their all, man. It's like, the practice squad guys, it's just like the scout team guys, man. You want so much for them, because you know that they're putting the same effort and the same time in that you are. We're all sitting in the same damn locker room. We're doing the same drills together. We're beating the hell out of each other every single day, and it's just right below. But that's also the reason why when you do make it, it is special. We're a very special fraternity. 1/10 of 1% of the guys actually make it into the NFL that try to get there, and it just makes it special.
What's the longest that you've known of someone who was on a practice squad that did not play on a team? I just never even thought of that. I'm like, wow, I wonder about that.
Yeah, the length of time, not sure. I've heard stories of like 4 years, maybe 5. And then it's different teams. You might be in a practice squad for different. I've heard of guys be on practice squads for like 5 or 6, 7 different teams, which is good because they're getting 5 or 6 or 7 opportunities to latch on. But if they don't, that's just how it works. I mean, think about it. In Indiana, when we were back there, we had 120 guys back then on the team, counting walk-ons and scholarship athletes. All 120 guys didn't play.
No, didn't. They didn't play, man. They should. I mean, and we beat the heck out of each other each week, and it was a lot tougher than I'm telling you. I mean, they ate the training table just like we did, but all these guys didn't play, man. And you weren't. Everybody wasn't going to the NFL. It's obvious. I didn't go. And Nolan went, and I'm proud of my guys, man, that I played with that made it to that level. But the reality is that, you know what, just like Nolan said, hey, listen, you're here today and you could be gone tomorrow. So you need to make the most of it.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm proud of institutions like Indiana University. The Big Ten as a whole has an outstanding reputation for making sure they have probably one of the higher of the Power 5 conferences graduation rates. And that's important to me because I need players that are coming to the league that have heads on their shoulders, that were actually there for school. They have life skills.
Right, exactly.
They're close to their degrees. Most guys that are vested, they're maybe 80, 60, 70, 80% away from having a degree if they don't have it already. It's important. I don't like, and I'm not naming names, but I don't like these conferences. I don't like these schools that are these factories that turn these kids. You said it. that turn these kids out, and these young men, and they don't care. They lie to them when they go into their living rooms and talking to their mama, their grandmama, their daddy, their granddaddy, and say, your kid is going to be a great student athlete. He's going to have the tools to be great post football and all that stuff. And they don't care about what classes are. They don't care if they're going to class. If we miss class, boy, Bill Mallory would have us what was called dumb. One chance to miss class.
I tried that one time. Okay, don't call it kids. Hey, we go to school, we tried. And I'll tell you what, I'm from Florida, and I said I would never. I remember he told my mom in the living room, he said, listen, Miss Jackson, he might skip a class. That's what kids do. I guarantee he won't do it no more. Man, I'm out in December on the frozen tundra running ladders.
Frozen tundra.
With the crest. It still had that crest on
it. Yeah, exactly.
Man, yeah. All it took was one. There was a couple of guys who were knuckleheads, but man, all it took was one. We were at Indiana to graduate.
Exactly. That's what we were there for. Yep, and something else, Jim, you didn't do too. You didn't come there out of shape. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you did, Dawn Patrol was listen, man. We already practice twice a day. I think the kids practice like once a day now. Listen, man, you got to get up and you practice before practice. You already drained.
Man, Nolan, I cannot tell you how much this has just been an absolute blast. But I follow you on Twitter, and I've been wanting to get you on for so long. I was like, well, give me a follow so I can send you a message.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I follow you and just always like your words of wisdom. And then now to be able to talk to you and see why that, the NFLPA is so lucky to have you, but Indiana is lucky to have you as a graduate, man, as an alumnus. Cannot wait to have you back on. It's been such a blast. I've got to thank DJ for making that happen, man. And DJ's been coming on with us now for a month or so now, and he brings the energy. It's just so much fun, but it is so much fun talking to people that have that energy and have that passion for whatever it is. DJ's just got it for life, and you got it for what you're doing. Man, what a fun! It makes this stuff so fun, and I know the fans love it.
Appreciate it. I'll come on anytime, DJ. You know that, man. Blood, it's all good, man.
Nolan is great.
I'll definitely make sure I give you a follow. But this is great, man. Keep educating the people on what's going on. And especially the young kids, right? Keep them. I can be critical. We could be critical of the team. I heard the earlier segment. These are still young men. They're young kids. They're trying their hardest. That's why I put a lot of onus on the coaches and people. I got a little flack for that on Twitter, but these are kids.
Right,
you're right. Correct them, and you have to put them in situations so that they can thrive and be successful. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I know I'm concerned, but I love watching those kids play. I love giving.
We're gonna have to have some follow-up shows, man, as we go through after maybe a postseason follow-up or a bowl game, pregame, all kinds of stuff we can do. But I look forward to anything that you're working on that people need to know about, or anything that's close to your heart.
Well, I mean, it's everything close to my heart has to do with our former players. So, our offices still aren't open. We're still knee deep in the pandemic. We're finally able to start actually having in-person meetings. So, like I said, I'm about to get on the road and get in front of our guys so I can educate them on what's going on. We have a new hospital network we just launched as part of the CBA. So now every former player in a major, in a team city now has the ability to go to a hospital to get, preventative care and things like that. And that'll expand even further on. So just continuing to let guys know about benefits and opportunities that are available to them. You don't know what you don't know. So everybody out there, if you know a former player, have them call us up at the union, have them call us, at 833-former. Make sure that, or hit me up on Twitter. That's probably the best way. You can reach me at any time. But former players who are out there should not know about the benefits. There are too many things that are available. For my 0 accredited season guys to my 25-year guys, we have something for everyone who played this game. You signed a contract. We have something for you. Do not suffer in silence. Please reach out to us. We are here to help all of our guys.
We're going to do another one, man. I cannot wait. This has been absolutely a blast. I cannot thank you enough, Nolan. Truly, this has been the highlight of the week so far. It's just been so much fun. You're an incredible guest and just a fun and just enlightening person. Appreciate you so much, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nolan. Love you, man. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate Nolan. I'll be in touch with you, brother.
Love you too, bro.
Okay, bro. Love you, man.
Nolan Harrison joining us here, former Indiana player, former NFL player, currently with the National Football League Players Association, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Incredibly, what a blast. John, I assume we're not taking a break here, right?
Yeah, we'll just keep it here for 3 minutes.
Yep, we'll just stay here. What a blast that was, Derrick. I mean, wow, I have not had the opportunity to talk to Nolan before. I mean, I knew who he was, and I knew I love him and all that. But wow, what a just a breath of spring air just rolled through here in the middle of November. That was awesome. Just so much fun, and can't wait to do that again. Just and on any level. But what a great person! That just shows you, man, the people that keep getting turned out, that are out there working for other people. Former Hoosier there, that probably a lot of people, they know who he is, but they don't know what he's doing and what he's been up to. So to be able to bring that to him today is awesome. And that's completely thanks to Derrick Jackson, man. So we got to thank you for that. That was just awesome. No problem. And that's the peeps. That's the kind of peeps that DJ hangs out with, man. That's why DJ is like he is. That's how DJ is. Oh, and then soon, that's right, because someone asked me about him, a special guest that we have not had on. I'll let you throw it out there. We met him, or I got to meet him at Buffalo Louie's a while back. Spud,
okay.
Spud.
Yeah, we're gonna get Spud back. I got a few guys lined up. John knows I always give John the heads up about a week ahead of time to get these guys. Man, I got guys that are actually reaching out to me and, hey, DJ, man, listen, you can get on the show. Just give me a time that you're going to be available on Wednesday, brother.
Oh, man. You got them lining up, man. You got them lining up. I love it.
We'll try to get back into it.
Man, it's just you just brought like I said, a whole new, fresh, funness, and being fun, having fun is the most important part. If we're not having fun, nobody enjoys it. But it's just been great. A lot of great comments. Cannot thank you guys enough, Pete. Great show. Missed some show earlier in the week. Providence beat Purdue in close scrimmage a couple days ago. I did not see that. Durham had like 19 points. They were really talking him up. Well, we'll see. But thank you, Pete. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. Basically, thanks to Rick Bozich. See Bob Kravitz. Of course, big thanks to Derrick Jackson. Without him, the fun doesn't happen, man. He brought the party to the party today. So big thanks to DJ as always. John, the producer, of course. Nolan Harrison, wow, what a big thanks to him as well. And most importantly, all of you guys. Without you all, we don't have any reason to be here. But, man, we're going to keep doing some stuff. DJ, we'll have more stuff with DJ because he's making it happen. DJ, anything for you coming up people need to know about?
Hey, just looking forward to my trip for this Minnesota game. Let's just keep, guys, listen, we're going to have more guests on the show like Jim was saying. And as far as I'm concerned, man, hey, listen, go Hoosiers. Let's make sure we love everybody and stay focused.
We'll be back tomorrow to do it again. I can't wait. Thank all you guys. Looking forward to it. Make sure you're back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
See you later, Jim.
Thank you, my sir.